that kills creativity. Social media makes us all boring and humans are all turning into mindless zombies. We have all heard that and it sounds scary, because what is humanity even without creativity? The word creativity gets associated with art a lot, which makes sense, because coming up with something new or something seemingly new, we'll get to that, is a creative thing, because you're literally creating something. Making anything, however, putting together a meal with old-ish fridge ingredients, or writing a work report, or even putting together your daily work outfit while you're still half asleep at 6 in the morning, is a creative endeavor to a certain extent. Don't worry, not everything you do has to be creative, and making something into something creative doesn't necessarily make it better, because creativity exists on a sort of scale. The newer and more out of the box something seems, the more creative it is, seems to be the general consensus here. Whilst thinking about this, I came to one conclusion, and that is that creativity seems to come from a place of necessity. I think the invention of the wheel was a very creative thing, but it was also very necessary to transport stuff that was too heavy to just carry. Your daily outfits are also necessary in this society because we expect people to be dressed, and also having warm clothes, especially when it's cold, is very nice and necessary for survival even. And you also probably have your own preferences on how your clothes feel or look when you're wearing them. Some outfits are more creative than others. For example, when you put together an outfit of stuff you like because you like them and they don't necessarily fit together in a sense that most people would put together an outfit, and then something new and unusual exists now, that I would say is more creative. Doesn't necessarily mean that it's better, but it's more creative. But dressing yourself in general is a creative experience for everyone, I would say, because you have items in your closet and you need to throw something together and then you create something called an outfit. So I think that being human is an inherently creative experience. We are constantly creating stuff that solves a problem, how tiny the problem might be. However, over the past few years, people have started to look more similar, do more of the same thing, and wanting others to solve our problems, including solving the necessity of our self-expression, which is why a lot of people make art in the first place. I came across this video last week, for example.
A lot of people are very angry about AI art, and that's why I want to talk to you today. AI art is sometimes the only way people with disabilities and people who were born with no talent can make art. I have no artistic talent, but I love the feeling I get when I'm creating art. I always put in effort in art class, but I always got a bad grade. AI lets me create beautiful challenge coins that look like this for my friend Jermaine, who is running for Chicago City Council. I can also create challenge coins for my show on YouTube that look like this one. A lot of writers are worried they're going to be replaced by AI. That may be true, but people with disabilities can see their dream stories coming alive with AI writing. There are a lot of people who had COVID that now have brain fog and want to see their stories in print but can't type them out because of the brain fog. And there are people with dyslexia who have great stories in their heads but just need a little help with the words. And then there's me with ADHD who can't focus for more than a second, so I procrastinate endlessly from sitting down to write the stories I want to. So, before you condemn AI art entirely, remember, this is the only way some of us can get that great feeling from making art.
Now, this is an insult to every disabled person on this planet, I believe. I happen to be an artist with ADHD, so it is possible to be an artist that doesn't use AI, because I do not use AI in my art, and make art. The trick is to actually learn how to deal with your ADHD, which is also a lot healthier than trying to keep your brain happy with a lot of small dopamine amounts spitting into your brain when you have finally created something new, which happens with AI, but then it's a lot and very quick instead of slow, but then you can get the fulfillment of actually doing the work. Because that's incredibly draining if your dopamine goes like this instead of Whee! That's a lot better. Anyhow, whenever I see videos like this or Reddit posts like this, because there are a lot of those too, I always question why the people saying this actually want to make art. Because it feels like they want to see the results of their brain soup just as quickly as possible. It might be fun for a little while, and it's also creative to a certain extent, arguably, because you created something together with a machine, but you put in the prompt that you made with your brain. But I don't really feel like it fulfills the creative purpose that is appealing to so many people that make art. And I also need to mention that art is the only sustainable livelihood for many disabled people, so saying this is actually harmful to the community of disabled artists. And it's highly problematic to say something like that, because you're denying or telling disabled people basically that they cannot make art, that because they are disabled they cannot make art with their body, hands, feet. Some people paint with their feet, some people even paint with their mouth. That is a creative solution. For example, if you're disabled and you don't have limbs and you learn to paint with your mouth, which people have done in the past and still do, that is creative. That's a creative solution to a problem, because you feel like you need to be expressive and make art, and you cannot in the normal or in the usual way with your hands, so you use your mouth and you now have a creative solution to a problem. So anyway, saying that art is inaccessible like that is problematic. I think this positivity around AI art is bad for creativity. AI in itself has a few problem-solving capacities, such as helping blind people navigate the world and doing boring tasks for people at their work so that they can focus on things better for their brain, probably creative tasks in some kind of way. So AI can solve problems like this. Like, we can make AI do stuff that solves problems. But art is simply not one of those things. If you need a cover for your book, for example, you can hire an artist that will express the inside of your book with their art. The only problem AI would solve with this, for example, is money. It's a capitalistic thing, because it's way cheaper to make AI do it than to hire an actual artist that has to spend a lot of time and has spent a lot of time learning how to do their skill. So that costs money, and people don't want to spend money, so they use AI for this stuff. It's not better in this case of this hypothetical publisher, because I can assure you that not more money would go to the author of the book, and the book wouldn't be sold for cheaper. If you like making concepts for art, that's fine. You can work with an artist for that and get something new that you wouldn't even have thought of in the first place. So that would probably be even better in that way. Not thinking about how your prompt would be realized, aka solving the problem of getting your prompt made in real life, is like 90% of the entire process of creativity here. So skipping that part is detrimental to creativity. Another thing I keep seeing on the internet is trends of people telling other people how they want to be seen and how to achieve that. Examples of this are the clean girl trend or the that girl trend, and even productivity gym bro content. There are people telling you how to dress, how to act, and sometimes even what the right way or the easiest way is to make a livelihood. Content creators often frame this as the only right way to belong or to be respected. Of course, this was happening before social media even existed, but it has been really heavily amplified through social media. Now these trends have gotten names ending in aesthetic or core, and it doesn't have anything to do with your social status anymore, when back in the day the only people who could even afford new stuff were the rich people. Other people would have to save up, and if that was like that nowadays, trends wouldn't really exist, because trends go by really quickly right now. People all over the world can see any video publicly posted to the internet within seconds, and if a video has a lot of likes, it also comes with some kind of influence, hence the term influencer. At the beginning of this video I said that small things like dressing yourself are creative, but if someone tells you how to dress, like in a trend like that, in order to belong, because the people online that get a lot of likes are very popular, so it might seem like you have to dress like that to belong in a similar way, it's not creative anymore, it's just copying. It's okay, of course, to feel inspired by something or something someone shares online, but it's not creative anymore once you feel the need to copy the thing exactly, without any of your personal input. Simply following such an online trend turns people into mindless zombies, I believe. That might sound harsh, but so many of these clean girl trend videos, for example, have similar looking people in them with basically the same content. It's the same. It's copying each other, and that also translates to real life with popularity culture. People want to be popular. A lot of people want to be popular, if not all people want to be popular, and to belong, you dress in a way that your friends might dress. There's so much toxicity going on around that. that, and it has been for so long. But anyways, these online trends help a lot with realizing this mindless zombie thing of people just copying other people in order to be liked and to belong. I'm not saying that creative stuff never works on the internet, but it's a lot more of a gamble with the algorithm, because if you see something that has a lot of likes, it's obviously liked by the algorithm. That's not how that works, but people want to see that. There are words in videos that people click on, so the algorithm thinks like, yay, this is a topic people like, so people are going to copy each other just for fame, clicks, likes, and whatever. And when you post something that comes from your own mind, or like stuff that you see around you, which is different for everyone, it might not get picked up by the algorithm as quickly, because that's just how that works. But I do think that that should be the point of social media, like having your own little internet corner where you can just tell your brain. But I also understand that it's getting increasingly harder to know how to be creative. The wheel has already been invented, society is really judgmental and complicated, so it seems a lot easier just to simply comply with societal standards. But in case you want to be creative, which doesn't mean that you need to be an outcast immediately or ever really, but it just means basically to use your own brain to make stuff, whatever that is. And I think that's a really nice tool that makes humans be happy and feel fulfilled. So I'm now going to tell you some things that I think help with creativity in the most general sense possible. Step 1 is telling yourself that you don't need to reinvent the entire world. I know I said like 5 times that creating something new is a creative thing, but the reality is that nothing is inherently originally new. Instead, try to sparkle some of yourself, of your soul, into the thing that you make. Instead of making the pasta recipe, for example, exactly as it says, when you don't like the cheese they suggest, put in the cheese you do like. That's already creating something new that you like for yourself, which is already better because you made it in a way that you like it. Step 2 is finding inspiration. As I said, no idea is 100% original, so finding inspiration is really inspirational. You don't have to scroll Pinterest for hours not even knowing what you're looking for. What works better for most people is just asking yourself why you like what you see or experience. So say you see a Get Ready With Me video in which someone is doing their makeup and you really like the makeup look and you want to replicate that for yourself. First, instead of getting all the products and just replicating what you see, ask yourself, why do I like this so much? And maybe you'll find out that you like the blush color and you get the blush color and you can play with that a little. That's way more fun and way more personal, and you are genuinely creating something new instead of copying each other. And then you haven't reinvented the entirety of makeup, but you have just created something, which sounds nice. Step 3 is asking yourself why you want to be creative. Just sitting with yourself and thinking, I am going to be creative now, is probably not going to work. As I said, creativity often, if not always, comes from a place of necessity. So if you fix a broken sock, for example, it is a creative thing with a clear purpose, and maybe you even want to make it more goofy by using neon thread, for example. Or maybe you want to make a boring sock, or your broken sock is black, so you're fixing it with black thread because you need serious socks. Anyhow, finding a purpose in your creativity is really helpful, and it doesn't really matter whether this purpose is really practical or really expressive or a combination or something different. The last step is giving yourself time. Creativity and thinking for yourself gets discouraged a lot in this day and age, sadly. So being creative can be really hard and therefore take time. This reminds me of a quote by the wonderful trans handyman. Remember, you're worth the time to learn a new skill. Being creative does require skills, and it really depends on what you want to do, which skill you need. And learning something takes time and frustration, because everyone ever has made something, whatever it is, that just simply doesn't work for whatever reason, and that's just frustrating, but that's okay. That's about all I have to say about this right now. I probably can say a lot more about it, but I don't know because I'm really tired actually. But that's about all I have to say about it right now. Enjoy your creativity. Thank you for watching, and please press those wonderful shiny like and subscribe buttons, and then I will see you next time. Ciao!